Hi there, just in the speed shop, working on Susie. This is one of the pacey bikes that did the Oz trip, then is just used here in North Devon, just doing a bit of servicing on her, just going through them all really, just checking brake disc, chain tension, oil. One's just had to have a new tyre, new battery on one, so just keeping on maintain really. But I was out yesterday on the CT125s with a group, and yeah, I've got to say, I do like the new ones. They're just smooth, effortless, a little bit quicker. There's a hill out of Lynmouth, if anybody knows it. You go out past the harbour, around the harbour, up the hill, and it climbs and climbs and climbs. And on these, unless you get a really good speed through the corner, up to the hill, or you're on one of the stronger engine ones, some are a little bit fresher than others, you have to go down to first gear. It's a first gear hill. On the 125s, it's a second gear hill, so you're carrying a lot more speed. And it's at times like that when the 125 is just proving itself far more usable than the 110. So when I initially rode them, I thought quite similar in performance, but actually over a multitude of terrain up and down, the 125 with that extra bit of grunt, probably added freshness of being a newer bike, just makes it a little bit easier. One thing I did put a Facebook post up, but this is quite interesting. So I read on one of the forums that there's a bit of early onset corrosion on the inside of the exhaust cover on the 125s. So I took this off. I don't know if you can see that very well. Let's see if I can show you close up. I took one off, and that's rust. That's rust on a 600-mile bike, used for about 2 weeks. So a little bit disappointed, I've got to be honest. Yeah, it's been wet and it's had some mud in it, but that's quite early onset to corrosion. So it does raise a question as to, how do they build bikes these days compared to the old ones? Because I've just so happened to have the guard off for one of the CT110s. One of them, it's blowing from one of the lugs, so this is off being welded up. So I just took that off, and if you look at that, it's a 15-year-old bike done for 50,000 kilometres, years in Australia, and then a couple of years being bashed around the green lanes in England. So somebody on Facebook said, well, it's how you look after them. Well, clearly not, because they've been looked after the same, except for that one's had a lot more years of being looked after the same than that one. So yeah, it's a shame modern standards in terms of production aren't what they used to be. And I guess there's many reasons: cost cutting, more regulation in terms of paint quality and things. I know they can't use lead in the paints, and there's probably more regulations as to things like that probably soften or weaken the quality of the product. But it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame that I certainly feel it for Honda, and I know I upset a few here, but I've got enough Hondas to warrant having an opinion. But to me, the old ones, they do cast a ray of quality throughout the bike. Everything's built to last, everything's well engineered, and to see that manufacturer that's got such a high acclaim for that quality doing stuff that's like that, you do think, what a shame you don't value the brand strength that you've built up over the years, and risking it by a bit of shonky paint or whatever that is, chunky finish quality. And all the it's rife through life, isn't it? Everything we buy these days is generally not quite built to the same standard or quality as it used to be. That said, the new ones are better to ride. So in terms of refinement, gearbox, transmission, or engine smoothness, brakes, fuel injection, electric start, in many ways, vehicles have improved. I think the problem with motorcycle, it's a very tactile, touchy object, isn't it? You get up close, you clean it, you take it apart, so you get a far better feel for the quality of products than, say, in a car, where as long as I guess the dashboard is of decent quality, you don't really feel the mechanics of under the bonnet or underneath. So I think with the motorbike, it really emphasises the tactile nature of it, and what we want is something that feels good, that lasts well, that is easy to clean and things like that. So it's very, I suppose it's very difficult for motorcycle manufacturers to tick all those boxes, to bring bikes in at a lower price, but also keep a good quality. I'm just trying to think, when I was sort of 17, 20 odd years ago, 22 years ago, a TZR 125 back then was £3,700. An equivalent now what's that? Inflation probably getting on for £7,000. So equivalent, we used to pay £7,000. The Yamaha used to charge £7,000 for a two-stroke 125 back in the day. And there's probably no wonder that quality has dipped, because the product is no longer £7,000 in modern money; it's probably 5,000. So somewhere along the line, they've had to save 20% of the retail price of a product, and that's got to come in cutting corners and making things a bit cheaper. So I suppose we can't have everything. We can't have affordable products and products built to last. So in terms of this garden, I'm just going to clean it up, put some ACF 50 on it, and see how it goes, really. I think the problem is, obviously in Britain we get a lot of road salt, and that does eat away at anything. Not just CT125s, but if you've got a GS12 or an Africa Twin or a KTM, the road salt will do some serious damage to it. So yeah, motorcycling, it's to say it's all about the riding, and that's really all that's important, the riding. We do sometimes get caught up in the surface issues, the first world problems of motorcycling. Like me, I was upset when I thought, oh my God, look at that. Really, it's just a bit of surface rust on a guard that's just inconsequential. It doesn't affect my ability to ride the bike or for anybody else's ability to ride the bike, but we're a funny thing, aren't we, motorcyclists? We get upset by things. I mean, I don't care if we had a new sofa at home and quality of that weren't very good, I'd probably just keep on sitting on it. I wouldn't even notice if stitching started coming apart. But if a motorbike starts going surface rust, I get a right tantrum on. So no real message in this video other than to say sometimes nostalgia is justified. Look at that. That'll last another century, that will. That might last another decade. Oh well. That's progress, I suppose. Cheers.